Fun. All right, so this is our first video scribe interview, and I'm here with the Hyborian War player, Dewnmou'tain. How are you doing?
It's actually Dewnmou'tain.
Dewnmou'tain, I
That's
apologize.
right. If you look at the name, wow, that is a fat cat behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy moly. So Dewnmou'tain, it's not mountain, but the name was inspired by Mountain Dew. It was the name of a character that I did in an old Warhammer role-playing game. And I was looking for inspiration and I had the bottle in my hand, and I'm like, oh well, what if I just move that in? And Dewnmou'tain became the old guy that was the wandering storyteller who kind of has like this, not so much larger than life, but like a grizzled attitude towards like everything. But his main thing at the end of the day is, the story. He wants to hear the story. He wants to tell the story. So yeah, that's Dewnmou'tain.
Okay, and we're here to get your story.
Okay.
All right, so tell us a bit, how did you first intersect with Hyborian War? How did you find out the game even existed?
Okay, well, we got to go all the way back to 1996, 95. I bought my first Dragon magazine and reading through it, loving D&D, playing AD&D at the time, and articles. I really liked Nodwick, the comic, but I remember seeing, like at the bottom of one of the pages, the image of Dritz holding his twin scimitars, Forgotten Realms, the little spiel of the advertisement and stuff. Please contact RSI in Tempe, Arizona, and stuff. And I remember that summer sending out a letter for the information. I got it back, and that's when I realized that you had to pay for the thing, right? Saying what the concept of, like I just thought it was like an online game. I mean, a mail game, right? Because I was living with my dad in North Carolina, right? And I was looking through the phone book one day, and I remember seeing this play by telephone adventure thing where you could call the number, you could listen to the adventure, and then you could choose different options for your character, right? I mean, you were just assigned a character, but it was like to go through the left door, push one, to go through the right door, push two, right? And it would tell you, things and stuff. And it was actually pretty cool, but that didn't cost anything, right? Well, I didn't know that it actually cost my dad on his long distance phone bill. But you know, so anyways, the that was kind of like my introduction to like, money and paying for things that you like and stuff like that. So I kind of just was like, well, I'm not going to do this because I'm working minimum wage, and back then it was like $4. I think it was 4 or 5 bucks. Um, so I didn't have a whole lot. Forgot all about it and stuff, and then uh, Dragon magazine again, 2008. Um, January 2008, I was looking through the Dragon magazine. There again was the advertisements. And so I sent off because I knew I was deploying to Iraq. So I thought, hey, I could do a slow game for some of this stuff. This would be pretty cool. Well, I got there and I just didn't have the time. Shit was happening all the time. So couldn't devote the time to learning this game in country with everything going on and stuff. So I just stuck that at the bottom of my travel trunk. And then, it was like about 3 years later, I'm back home. I'm cleaning out said travel trunk, and I find that same letter, right? And it said, I had $100 credit on it, right? So I called up RSI and I was like, well, hey, I'm so and so. Does this thing still? And they're like, oh yeah, we got this. It's all cool. So I'm like, okay. So they send me fresh information and stuff. And then I had just started, I was a dad, I was working full time. I had just gotten elected as alderman for the city of Waukesha. And I was going to school full time. So I was in my basement all the time. So I was just like working to the gills. So once again, the game got put off to the side. And then, what was it? 2020, COVID hits, and I was had that itch for an old for nostalgia, right? So I was looking at the old Dragon magazines, saw the advert again. So I said, why not? Let's call. Talk to Sandy. Sandy's like, oh yes, we still have your account here. And I'm like, oh. And she goes, and you're still credited $100. I'm like, whoa. So she she sends at first I got into Duel Masters, and I sent off as well for Hyborian War and the Forgotten Realms. What really wanted to try that out. Wasn't getting anything from Hyborian War. Wasn't getting anything from Forgotten Realms. I was diving hard into Duel Master, and then it just got too much. Right, 5 characters, way too much. So I called up Sandy. I said, "Yeah, I got to stop Duel Masters, but what do you got for Hyborian War? What do you got? What do you got?" And she's like, "All right, give me a sec, because you're a new player. I want to put you in a game, but not have you like lose right away. I want you to have enough time to have a good time." So that's how I ended up. I think it was turn 9, turn 10 in 967 being put in. I got the setup for that. And then I think it was like 5, 6 days there. I got the setup for either 964 or 968. I was playing Koth, which was like my first game that I submitted for, right? And I went online, I told people about it, and everyone and their brother is like, Koth is a crap kingdom. You don't want to play that. Oh my God, it sucks. I feel sorry for you. And I actually got a comment back from, I know you hate the guy, but General Mike actually reached out to me and he's like, hey, you got any questions? Hit me up. Now, I had a um, the first turn sheet, right? Has all the commands for the characters, the armies, and all that stuff. But then the declaration section, right? There's this whole long list of extra lines, right? Well, when I first filled the thing out, I was like, man, there's like all this extra space. And I seriously felt like I wasn't doing anything. Like I wasn't doing enough, right? Like, okay, there's like I got 20 extra lines. I should be doing more, right? General Mike's sitting there, goes, no, 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 you're fine. What would you do first turn? So I explained it to him. He's like, okay, all right, well, here, let me tell you about light infantry, medium infantry, heavy infantry, cavalry stuff. He spent about 2 hours on the phone with me, and it was nonstop. Um, like just information, right? Like water hose to the face, open your mouth, and you just hope your face stays on because he's just given so much information, right? And it was like almost too much information, right? But based off of that, I was able to figure some stuff out. I got my butt handed to me really quickly in Koth, so I kind of just wiped my hands in it, and then I focused on Hyrcania, and that actually went a lot better. I met a lot of great people based off of that. So, in a long-winded sense, that's like my first true official start with Hyborian War.
Right on.
12
So,
minutes after.
how did you find out about the Road of Kings, the War Baron website?
That actually came through in the welcome packet from RSI, and they got the sheet that came with it and whatnot, and said, um, actually, I think I still got it. Actually, I still got all my turns for Hyrcania as well. But here, let me check this. Oh yeah, I got this little
Oh yeah.
thing to do that, and then this was Koth,
Yeah.
you know, my first rep and stuff, and then I got that thing that came in the mail
Interesting.
through the mailer and stuff, and it was like,
Huh.
cool, all right. So I went online, found it. I had a heck of a time getting an account set up at first, but I talked to Crom, and he ended up explaining to me that he was having issues with a lot of spam bots hitting the account and attempting to make fake accounts. So I just I made an account and then it got closed out for Dewnmou'tain. So I tried making a couple others and they kept failing. So finally I reached out to Crom and I was like, hey dude, I'm trying to get on your website. And he's like, oh, well, which one do you want to be assigned to? So I gave him the Dewnmou'tain and he's like, okay, cool. Here you go. You're good to go now. That's how I heard about the website.
So coming on to this site, sorry, there's a bit of an echo. Coming on to this site, what do you think is the appeal to engaging in that? Do you like the community? Have you found people you like, dislike? Is there the information helpful? Like, what is it that draws you to the website?
Well, first off, it was the information, right? Like the game's been going on for 30 years. Any kind of question that I could come up with is usually has already been asked in a thread, and there's a whole gameplay thread on there. Otherwise, I may not find the situation that I'm asking about, so I can ask the question, and within like 3 hours, I'll have like 4 or 5 different answers, and then it'll just go on to like this whole long tangent of other possibilities. So it's in that aspect, it was really cool, right? And then as I started playing the game and I started talking to more people and stuff and being more active on the boards and whatnot, people started reaching out to me and saying, hey, you do you play this, you're in this game, we should talk. Hey, what do you think about an alliance and stuff? And I'd be like, well, okay, I'm new, so this is cool, people are paying attention to me, yay. You know, and so yeah, it just it worked out from there. And you know, like again, 967 was kind of like my crucible moment, you know, like where I had good people around me. I had who did I have? Um Vendea was ran by Sanctus. Um he actually turned out to be a really cool guy to talk to as well. He gave me his phone number and I was able to have quick chats with him. Um uh, I forget the guy who was playing Uda. I want to say Akrid, but I don't think that's right. But it turns out like he and I were already allied, and then as the game progressed and stuff, he and I started talking more because we were kind of wanting to go after Kusan, and I think that was Coach, and then Kitai, Full Metal. Oh, by the way, Full Metal, are you aware that you dropped Kitai in 967? I had to put that in there because I keep reminding of that because there was like a 20 post thing about everyone ragging on Full Metal because he dropped. It's kind of a funny thing. Um, but you know, I started talking to people, and then just kind of seeing talking and stuff. Sometimes I talk in character. Dark Elf, who was running Hyperborea, he always talked in character, so I talked in character to him. Sanctus never talked in character, so it was just regular chats with him and stuff. I did some in character stuff when I started going to war against Kosala. That was actually pretty fun. And then right about that time, I started with 978. And that was like the whole fresh group of people. I got yourself and Loki. Well, Loki was Iranistan in 967, but he's in the media in 978. A couple of other players and stuff, right? And I'm playing Vanaheim, so I'm way up in the corner. The closest people that I care about is Hyperborea, Pix, Aquilonia, Cimmeria. So those are the only people that I really talk to and stuff like that. And then, well, we started stuff started branching out and stuff, and then you and I had our little interaction, um, and stuff. But it's overall kind of bringing it back to the main question there. Um, the community is very passionate, right? It is. Um, I really do like it, right? I recognize immediately that, like all things in life, there are going to be people who are opposites. People are going to not get along with each other and stuff, um, so on and so forth, right? And but really, at the end of the day, it really is about the game. You know, you recognize the people that you're not going to get along with, and you just go, okay, fine. You know, they're there. You recognize the people that you do get along with, and hey, let's work together, let's talk together and stuff. Those There are going to be people that you ally with in one game, and you're going to be enemies with in another. So what? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, as long as you're yakking, who the f cares? The big moment for me for being included in the group, right? Being like, hey, he's one of us, kind of things and stuff, was Grimfinger. He started like yakking with me and stuff, and what was it? 2021. He and I were exchanging letters and stuff, and it was he asked me, well, I think it was like, no, it wasn't that. It was I started talking about my shop, the blacksmith shop. And then he kind of took like a vested interest in like, hey, tell me more. What'd you do in the shop today? What'd you do in the shop today? He kept asking me over and over again. And he took a vested interest. And then, so that's what when I made that thread, having fun in the shop. And then it was like all of a sudden, like that became like my niche, like I'm the guy who knows forging. I'm the guy who knows like somewhat metallurgy and metal stuff and whatnot. And there was like this whole thing uh last month, December timeframe, of they were asking about the Rings of Power, right? The Amazon show. And they were asking like, can you make these 3 rings out of this material and stuff? Can you get, 2 rings of this color and 1 ring of this color? And it's like, at first I'm like, oh. But then I got to thinking about it, and it's like, well, technically, if you look at it like this, and there is real world application, because they were doing the spinny thing and stuff. So it was like, that's kind of like when I knew I kind of belonged. I had people were talking to me. I was actively engaged in some good alliances, and there was a good exchange back and forth. I was able to, even some of my allies start asking, hey, how you doing? I'm bored right now. Just thought I'd check in, say hi. Started chatting and stuff like that, Um, I got into an argument with General Zoo, That was, but, it was kind of like, like everyone kind of like talks about like, there are certain things that you know, and it was like once these criteria were kind of like hit in the background and stuff, it's like, okay, I'm here, I'm I'm known, my name is recognized, you know, love me, hate me, talk to me, don't talk to me. It's like at the end of the day, it's like everyone's cool, right? So overall, the Road to Kings has been like an incredible place, a great place for me to just kind of, you know, in a fantasy sense, kind of be me. You know, I can kind of lose myself for like, about an hour on the website. You know, sometimes I'll scratch an itch. I'll write up like 1,000, 1,500 words. You know, little short I wouldn't call it a short story, but it's just like a short little blurb thing that happens in the world and stuff. You know, I'll just be inspired and I'll write something up and stuff. So it's a place that's something cool to do that and whatnot, you know.
There's sorry, there's bad feedback. There's about 14 minutes, and there's 3 areas I'd like to cover with you. And we'll
Okay.
see if we can get them with time. If not, that's okay, because I'm going to prioritize them. The first
Okay.
one is you talked about the forum you made working in the workshop, and you had some pieces with you today. Could you share some of those pieces?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know how well my camera's going to pick it up and stuff, but I got a few here and I will actually, I'll make it quick. Okay. I'll show you like my first, knife I ever, well, my second knife I ever made that I took my time on. And it is a real piece of crap. It's
Okay.
just, it's just old saw blade, and we were getting rid of a end table that had cherry wood, so I kept that and glued it all together and stuff. And everything tells me I should hold it like this, but silly me, I put the edge on this side, so it's like it kind of, if you look at it, it's got like that little lip, right, the dimple for like a finger well, but it's in reverse. So it's like, oh, okay. But I like it, it's my first knife I ever made. And then today I posted online pictures of, Grits. And you can't really see it, but his big Bowie that
Oh
I
my
made.
God.
I know, yeah, this thing is a beast. This thing weighs 2.5 pounds, right? And then with the scabbard, that's black walnut. That's 3.5 pounds. So, but I made this one 2 years ago. I know I should sell the thing. You know, I like black walnut because it's what I got in abundance at my house. So, made it out of a circular saw blade. I should sell the thing, but I just never get around to saying, or polishing it up or whatever and making it pretty and saying, hey, it's for sale. Who wants it?
Okay. Um, you mentioned earlier, I caught that you were attending school. What were you majoring? What was your interest in school?
I was doing information technology. So I was majoring in information management actually. So I was doing online school.
Well, that's what most people do active duty, right?
Uh, well, I wasn't active duty actually. I only did active duty from uh, technically the extreme end of '05, right? So December 29th of 2005 to December 28th, 2009. So I was only in for 4 years. And I did do a deployment to Iraq. Um, but at the time, I what was it? 2012, 2013. I started school 2012. Did 4 years of online schooling. Started off at University of Phoenix. Ugh, that place was just bad. I ended up at Grantham University. My buddy recommended it. That place was awesome. It was a lot more laid back and easier to achieve. So yeah.
Okay. What about in the military? I know kind of your service period, but you never said what you did.
I was in the army. I actually enlisted to be well, I'm sure you've heard the term 25 colorblind.
No.
No? Okay. So 25 Charlie was radio operator maintainer, right? But I think it was like 80 to 90% of everyone who went that MOS was colorblind because they still wanted to get in and stuff, but everyone had like a red green color blindness, right? So it was like everyone was like, oh yeah, 25 color. Like, my platoon sergeant asked me when I got to my unit, he's like, what's your MOS? 25 Charlie. Oh, 25 colorblind. And it's like, oh yeah, okay. It's like, yeah. But I got to my unit. I was with my first unit was 18th Airborne Corps Artillery, but at Fort Bragg. And I got there, they put me in with the S6, and I helped out with, well, actually, technically, first I was just a glorified secretary until they figured out that I was smart enough to work on computers. And then they put me in with the sergeant, who was Sergeant Beverly, real awesome guy. They put me with him, and I started learning computers, Active Directory, all that computer fun stuff. That's what I did to up to deployment. But in the meantime, it was like 2007, midway through. Corps Artillery got deactivated, so we merged with Corps headquarters battalion, and no, not headquarters, right? HHC headquarters, a headquarters company for the STB. So it's like, I it was kind of frequent that I would run into full bird colonels and 1 star, 2 stars, all that fun stuff. But I did when I got in country to Iraq. My sergeant major just kind of saw me walk into the palace, and he's like, "Ski, glad you're here. You're not working here. I'm going to put you in this cell, and you're their IT guy. Make it work." And then he walked away, and it's like, oh. And I was in country for 15 months.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah. Cool thing is, I was actually home for Christmas 2008 because I had my wedding anniversary and my kid's birthday. So I got 2 kids, they're twins. So I was able to be there for their birthday.
right on.
And then I went back in January, and that was like an absolute pain in the ass.
Tard coming back.
Oh man. Oh, I was glad because I got there January 2nd, and I left up out of there April 1st. So it was for just about 4 months worth of time in there. I got the extra combat pay and the extended time pay and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it was just, that was not cool.
It gives me a timer. We've got 8 minutes and 40 seconds left. So here's the one, I'm going to give you the floor. I have other questions I could ask, but I'm going to give you the opportunity. Is there anything else you'd want to share about yourself or comments you have about not just Hyborian War? Because the War Baron is a site for all games. Is there anything else, like other games you want to share you're into? Just anything about yourself. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, I'll do this quick and dirty. One of my claims to fame is I was an elected official for 5 years. I actually, my first time I ran for office, it was contested, and I beat her in a 2-1 margin. So that was pretty cool. I I am a disabled vet. and I do have PTSD, which really makes things difficult for me, especially for work. Um, I I'm a dad. I have a set of kids. They're 15 years old, twins. Obviously, they are really awesome kids. I do actually do have a couple of side role playing games that I do, but they're on Paizo.com. I do play by post for on the website there. Um, I am actually I'm an avid like lover fan of Wheel of Time series. Love it. I'm actually currently rereading it now. So, and I'm on book 7. Um, let's see here. I'm trying to make it quick. Oh, there's a dog. Oh, Doberman. Yeah, that's like the 30,000 foot like real quick highlights thing, you know. So
Yeah, I got this little exercise I do. If you were meeting someone and could only share 3 things about yourself, what would you want them to know? And like an example might be you want them to know you're a dad, you want them to know you're a vet, you want to, like what are 3 things if you met someone you would want them to know these are the 3 most things that are important about you would want to share.
okay. Well, yeah, I'm a dad. I'm a vet. I'm a former politician, and
You only get 3.
I know, but the last one I think is pretty cool. Is I'm actually I also do middle school track coach for
Okay,
shot put and discus.
right on.
So yeah,
Okay,
keep it like that. What's the next one you got?
5 minutes left. So since you're playing Hyborian War, I know that much about you. You're currently in Hyborian War. Do you have any goals that you want to accomplish with your like Hyborian War career? Something you want, you want to obtain, whether it's winning a game, being the largest of, kingdom, what do you want to accomplish?
Well, that's the you kind of said 2 of the 3. The first one is I want to be top 10, right? And I think 978 I might achieve that.
Sure.
Second one, I would like to win a game, right? Now, I don't know if that's this year or the next couple of years, but I want to win it sooner than later, right?
Okay.
And then third wise, I really want to take a kingdom and just see how large I can get it. Just go for broke. You know, uh, I got all of these weird little harebrained ideas of like controlling a trade route and stuff. Everyone says you can't control a trade route. You got to, point A, point B, and that's it and stuff like that. But I just want to see what happens if I control the whole route from one trade route to another. Just want to see what happens. It's just, it hasn't been done. I want to see what happens if you send your entire court adventuring, and see what happens, you ferment unrest. Well, actually, no, I did that in 984. I sent my entire court to ferment unrest.
I bet a lot of them died.
No, actually, I had 12 characters. 4 of them were captured. 3 of them did nothing, and then the other 4 were somewhat successful, and one of them was super successful.
That's cool.
So yeah, and it's just like, okay, all right, but then I'm not talking to like the guy who's on the receiving end. Actually, I think he was unattended in abandoned kingdom, and it was so I have no way of knowing if anything happened, you know. So yeah, just random stuff I want to try some shenanigans.
That's funny. This is your time, and I want it to be about you. But I tried Foment of Rest one time out of all the years I played, and the character died. He was trampled to death in a riot. So he incited the riot, and it worked. And then he was trampled to death. So that was kind of funny. That's what I was expecting here. So you got off good with what? And
Yeah.
we got there behind you.
That's my cat, Barbecue.
Right on. Well, we only got like 2.5 minutes left. We'll just wrap it up. I want to thank you for your time. That was awesome. It was great to get to know you a little bit, and thank you for being gracious. I know it's 2 hours ahead and getting pretty late there, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Glad I could do it. And you dropped it on me last night. Like, hey, I want to do an interview with you. Oh, when do you want to do it? Tomorrow night. Well, okay, my schedule works out like that. So yeah, I'm glad I could help. I'm kind of curious to see how the video will come out and stuff. So yeah, this will be cool.
All righty. All right. Appreciate your time.
All right.